So the first thing to remember is that only a very small percentage of the Earth's total water resources are fresh water. Only 2.5% of total water resources in the Earth are fresh water, and of these, only 30% are groundwater, and a tiny percentage, 0.3%, are in rivers and lakes. So we have a tiny percentage of fresh water available for human use on the Earth to begin with. And out of this tiny amount, overall, we use about 70% for agriculture and irrigation water use. And that's a global average. And the amount varies considerably both between countries and within countries. Typically, we find that in low and middle income countries, there's a high percentage of water use for agriculture. And most of that is used for irrigation of crops and also watering of livestock. And the reason why we have higher percentages water use for agriculture in low and middle income countries is partly because of where they're located. So many of these countries are in water scarce regions of the world already, where evaporation losses of water are equal to or exceed the rainfall inputs. So it's partly location that causes this high percentage water use for agriculture. Another explanation is because of the nature of the economy. In low and middle income countries, more of the economy tends to be dominated by agriculture, and there's lower percentage water use by industry. So the countries which have some of the highest water uses for agriculture are Egypt, India and China, partly because of their nature of their economy and also their location. In high-income countries like the UK and the Netherlands, the percentage water use for agriculture is lower, typically about 50%, and much more of water use is dedicated for industry and for power generation compared to low and middle income countries. So we've got this variation in agricultural water use between countries, but there's also variability within countries. So in the UK, we find that in eastern areas, which are the main agricultural production regions and which also have lower rainfall, that irrigation water use can impact on river flows in summer. And this also occurs in Scotland. You may not think it, but eastern Scotland is an important area for potato production and cereal production, and sometimes there are water scarcities in rivers in summer because of irrigation water use to maintain these crops. So we've got high water use in agriculture, but these levels of water withdrawal won't be totally sustainable in the future if current production levels continue. It's been estimated that between about 15 and 35% of irrigation water use is unsustainable, and this will result in water resource crises in the future if we don't use more efficient food production systems or increase the efficiency of our water use. And as a result of this, it's estimated that about 2/3 of the world's population will live in water-stressed areas by 2025 if current consumption levels continue